Hey, good morning, everybody. Proverbs Daily with Jeremy, your source of daily proverbs and practical applications living as a Christian in a post resurrection world. My name is Jeremy. Today we are on Proverbs chapter 13. I'm going to go ahead and get started. A wise son heeds his father's instruction, but a scoffer does not listen to rebuke. A man shall eat well by the fruit of his mouth, but the soul of the unfaithful feeds on violence. He who guards his mouth preserves his life, but he who opens wide his lips shall have destruction. The soul of a lazy man desires and has nothing, but the soul of the diligent shall be made rich. A righteous man hates lying, but a wicked man is loathsome and comes to shame. Righteousness guards him in whose ways is blameless, but wickedness overthrows the sinner. There is one who makes himself rich, yet has nothing, and one who makes himself poor, yet has great riches. The ransom of a man's life is his riches, but the poor does not hear rebuke. The light of the righteous rejoices, but the lamp of the wicked will be put out. By pride comes nothing but strife, but with the well-advised is wisdom. Wealth gained by dishonesty will be diminished, but he who gathers by labor will increase. Hope deferred makes the heart sick, but when the desire comes, it is a tree of life. He who despises the word will be destroyed, but he who fears the commandment will be rewarded. The law of the wise is a fountain of life, to turn one away from the snares of death. Good understanding gains favor, but the way of the unfaithful is hard. Every prudent man acts with knowledge, but a fool lays open his folly. A wicked messenger falls into trouble, but a faithful ambassador brings health. Poverty and shame will come to him who disdains correction, but he who regards a rebuke will be honored. A desire accomplished is sweet to the soul, but is an abomination to fools to depart from evil. He who walks with wise men will be wise, but the companion of fools will be destroyed. Evil pursues sinners, but to the righteous good shall be repaid. A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, but the wealth of the sinner is stored up for the righteous. Much food is in the fallow ground of the poor, and for lack of justice there is waste. He who spares his rod hates his son, but he who loves him disciplines him promptly. The righteous eats to satisfying of his soul, but the stomach of the wicked shall be in want. All right, so for me, a couple of verses that stood out. So I've done Dave Ramsey, and one of the verses that he talks about in some of his teachings are hope deferred makes the heart sick, but when the desire comes, it is a tree of life. So for me, one thing I've realized is when you're a slave to the lender, when you're in debt, right? Because when you're in debt, you're not, you don't have money to do the things that you would like to because you're in debt. There's a sickness, there's a heart sickness, right? Oh, I can't do that. I've got my car payment. I've got, my credit card payments due. You're deferring your hope, right? But when the desire comes, it is a tree of life. So, obeying, even, when it comes to God's money, right? Being obedient with God's money means if I'm a slave to the lender, that's lent me money from the bank's bank account, then man, I'm a slave when the only person I should be enslaved to is love, is God, is Jesus. And that's where the true desire is, true love in Christ. And then the other one that stood out to me, verse 17, a wicked messenger falls into trouble, but a faithful ambassador brings health. We can't fool God. There's talebearers, there's, people that run around and say things that just simply aren't true. They don't have the full story, but they like to be heard. That they're going to fall into their own pitfall. I may not be now, but God sees them. And my hope and my prayer for those people that intentionally run around like that, is that they would turn before it's too late. We all have to feel the fire, and that fire is refining and sanctifying. As a conversation I had with a pastor friend of mine, it's sanctifying, it's setting apart, it's consecrating, it's making, it's getting rid of the leaven, it's getting rid of the sin in our life. Um, and that faithful ambassador, that's Jesus. He brings health. He brings true joy. He brings healing. Um, so yeah, that's Proverbs 13 and a little bit of practical application today. Again, if any of this causes you to go back and read or dig a little deeper, stirs anything in you, then I hope my prayer has been answered. I appreciate you following along with me, and I will see you guys tomorrow.